Well, Bill, welcome to you and Alice and your grandsons. So glad that you could lurk amongst us today. So let's begin and let others join as they come. We've got some good conversation coming up today and want you to know about what's happening in the life of our church, but also to be able to share this conversation with others who can watch it, when it's convenient for them, and to know what's going on. So we'll start with prayer. I wonder if there's any joys or concerns this morning as we start. Okay. Well, let's give thanks for the beauty of the day, and let's ask God to hold our concerns while we're together. God, thank you for this beautiful sunshine day, for the glory of a season where the weather is cooling and we get to be outside. Bless our time together, the people that are on this call and those who will watch this later. We ask that you will hold the concerns of our hearts and of this congregation in your loving care. Free us to be fully present with you and with one another in this conversation. In your name we pray. Amen. So Jeremy has a busy morning, and he offered to stop by and talk to us about worship and music. But Jeremy, you're up first.
All right. So like just about anything in the church, our plans keep evolving as we watch what's happening pandemic-wise. So what is happening now isn't what we thought was going to happen back in June, but I think there's lots of exciting things. I'll start just what's been happening on Sunday mornings in our worship, and it's been good to continue to have people in the space and to be gathered together in community. That has been a wonderful and beautiful thing. If you've been in worship or if you have watched on the screen, you'll notice we have a few new singers there. We've hired some new section leaders for the choir that have been functioning as cantors as well for the services. That was something that pre-pandemic, the worship committee had committed to adding to our budget every year, a paid section leader to assist in the choir, not because our volunteers aren't important or aren't good enough or anything like that, but because we wanted to support those volunteers. And lots of our volunteers in the choir said, oh, if somebody really strong is singing near me, I feel more confident, I feel more comfortable. And so we wanted to be able to support our choir volunteers in that way. Also, somebody just said to me the other day that when you're singing in worship and there's a cantor up there, that makes them feel more confident about what's happening. So I think all around, those singers add to our worship in lots of wonderful ways and help support us all so that we can sing and worship more fully. So the two new guys that you may have noticed up there are Casey, who took the spot of Nick, our tenor, who moved away. His partner got a full ride to study musicology at University of Maryland. So they've moved away. So Casey, we've hired in that tenor spot, and a wonderful singer. And Garrett is the bass that you've seen up there as well. In terms of choirs, we're gonna do some experimenting with singing outside, and that first experiment begins today. Youth group is starting up again today, and we're going to do a little youth choir out on the patio at 4:15 today. So we're going to see what it's like to sing outside together, distanced, and some masks. And I'm excited, and I think some youth are excited. We had a camping trip the other day, and Evan Oldenburg, when we were about to start a card game, looked at all the other youth and he said, "Is anybody else excited for youth choir?" So I did not tell him to say that. So I'm hoping for a good afternoon today. And then this week, I'm going to send out some information about beginning similar things. Nancy and I were working this week on, she was helping me with some logistics to be able to do sort of a music makers on the lawn like we did last fall with our younger kids. So I'm going to send out some information about that this week. And also the adult choir, we're going to do the same thing as the youth and try and gather and sing outside on the patio. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know when it's going to feel safe for us and our reopening task force to have a full choir on Sunday mornings. So I just decided that I was going to look down the road and thought when choir meets, we're going to start singing, rehearsing some music for Advent and Christmas with the hopes that maybe the numbers have gone down and we'll be able to sing. And if not, we'll have had a great time learning some music and fellowshipping together. And we'll have music planned for next year for Advent and Christmas. So I know there are a number of choir members who are raring to go and ready to sing. So I'm excited to do that. Yeah, I think that, does anybody have any questions about what we've been doing or what might be coming up? All right, I think that does it.
I want to highlight, you talked about the singing, Jeremy. You also have brought in instrumentalists in the last few months. And I just want to say that how wonderful that is and kind of put a plug in for that in a way. I know you work that on a regular basis, finding ways that instrumentalists can participate. And that's always meaningful.
And we've had a mix, which is nice too, of some of our own. Some of our youth have played instruments over the summer. Which is nice and fun to have them play, and having some professionals come in as well. And I've been wanting to build those kind of relationships with the professionals in our town. So for instance, a lot of you know Kate Steinbeck, who plays the flute, and she's just a wonderful person to work with. And so we worked out with her that she can have a concert or two in our sanctuary each year, and we're not charging her for that. We're bartering, and she's willing to play and worship for us allowing her to do that. So
sure.
That's neat to build those relationships.
Yeah. And let's say I'm thinking on this call, Olivia Bell Trader played in worship. And what's that instrument she's playing now, John Laura?
She's playing an iwi. It's an aerophone, but what is the E?
But what she played in worship was oboe.
And for marching band, she's playing this it's aerophone. It's an electronic wind instrument that'll make sounds like anything you want.
Like a violin or a tuba
or a brass section.
Yeah, we're so
playing worship in oboe, but right now she's learning.
Yeah, oboe.
Wow.
Was her is her regular instrument, and iwi, or the aerophone, is what she's playing in marching band right now.
This is the first time I've ever encountered anyone that plays the iwi, so I'm trying to figure out how to use it in worship. We tried once, but it wasn't available, so we're going to try again.
She's taught herself how to do it, and she's excited about it.
That's great. Anything for Jeremy before he goes? He's going to go and get some things ready. But any questions for him? So as we transition, I'm seeing Jane Laping there in room 112. And Jane, I just want to highlight that you are this fall leading a team of people to do some gardening around our church campus and get outside and do some cleanup. So thank you for doing that. Y'all had a work day yesterday, right?
Yes, we did. And I hope that you have noticed, all of you, how much better things look, especially on the patio. And I just want to give a shout out to Tom Young, since he's on this call. He and Riley did that. amazing work. You just won't believe how much different it looks. And then we've also cleaned up at the front entrance. And Tom's been working down in the parking lot where the vines grew up to the patio. And there was a little bit done in the Memorial Garden. But we had, gosh, I don't remember, we had over 6 volunteers yesterday. It was really good. So we're gonna keep that up.
Thank you for doing that. That's great.
I was on the patio yesterday and I was on the patio 2 weeks ago. And it's been transformed and it's so nice. Thank you so very, very much.
Yeah, those weeds were getting so big, I thought they were intentional plants, some kind of exotic species that was meant to be there.
Shade trees.
Yeah, right. All right, let's see. Mission. This is Alan and Martha, and I know Dennis and Betsy are involved in mission, so many voices might speak here. But Alan, would you lead us off?
Sure. So Martha and I are going to give you an update from the mission team on three areas. The racial justice team. Martha's going to speak to the racial justice team and to the endowment, how we made the decisions the mission committee made and submitted to session on how to allocate our endowment funds this year. And I'm going to give you an update on Saturday Sanctuary. So over to Martha.
Thanks, Alan. I'll start by briefly mentioning the racial justice team, and I'm just going to be brief about this because hopefully you all were able to tune in a couple of weeks ago to the worship service where a pretty comprehensive update was given of the work of that team to this point. That sort of is a subcommittee or falls under the umbrella of missions. So that was one of our big undertakings this year. I believe we actually started meeting last November to get that team established and to start working. If you weren't able to tune in, I believe that is included on our YouTube channel, the video from that Sunday, so you can check it out and get a pretty comprehensive update of what's gone on with that team over the past almost year. The next thing I want to talk to you all about is how our mission committee has continued to work with our mission partners in town, most recently looking at the funding that we receive from the mission endowment and how we might disperse that amongst our ministry partners. We had $24,120 from that endowment that we were able to share this year. As you might imagine, always, but particularly in this pandemic year, there were a lot of very worthy applicants, and we would love to have funded everything that came across our desk. But to guide our prioritizing, we used our Matthew 25 commitments and looked for partners that are really aligned with that initiative. So that's how we began to start narrowing down some of what we chose and what we did. I'll first mention the 5 groups that we decided to fund, and then I'll give you a quick update on what each of those groups is doing or has been doing recently in town. When Alan and I are through, if you have any questions or if you want any information about how you might get more involved with any one of these initiatives, we're happy to share that with you. So the 5 that we chose to fund this year were the Asheville Poverty Initiative, the Eagle Street Development Corporation, Haywood Street Congregation, the WNC Rescue Mission, and the Guatemalan Microloan Program. So one of the cornerstone programs of the Asheville Poverty Initiative is their 12 Baskets Cafe. And this cafe serves meals to those in need using largely rescued food. Well, with the closure of many restaurants during the pandemic, that resource all but dried up for 12 Baskets Cafe. So some grocery stores stepped up to really fill that need so that they were able to continue serving meals, which they did in a to-go, I believe more like a bagged lunch type format than having people coming in and actually working in and dining in the cafe. So they transitioned it to an outdoor to-go situation, but their big commodity is that rescued food, and that was really hard to come by during the pandemic when lots of restaurants were not operational. The Eagle Market Street Development Corporation is a new partner for us. The EMSDC provides equity funds to carefully vetted Black and Brown owned businesses. A key aspect of this partnership, and this is a piece of it that I really like, is that the infusion is equity and not a loan. So no debt is incurred by the business owner. And because the corporation then is an equity partner, they stay in relationship with that business owner through professional mentoring and that kind of thing. So I'm really kind of excited about our new partnership with this program. Similarly to 12 Baskets Cafe at the Asheville Poverty Initiative, the Haywood Street congregation has taken their food distribution and their clothing distribution outside. They set up 3 large tents in their parking lots to continue these programs. Another thing they did, which I am most appreciative of, is in relationship with the county and the city, they ran 2 vaccine clinics on site there, and they were able to administer over 400 vaccinations. So I thought that was really a great thing that they did this year. The WNC Rescue Mission is planning to use their funds to go toward and support Abba's House, which was created to help mothers with infants to recover from addiction through participation in a free 12-month residential program. So that's how they'll be using their funds. And then I know many of you are aware of our Presbytery's Guatemalan partnership and our personal relationship with Ebenezer Church in La Blanca, Guatemala. The Guatemalan microloan program helps women in Guatemala to expand or begin their business ventures. And in addition to providing funds, they also provide additional professional mentorship and support. In addition to these 5 initiatives, we had some funds in our Love Asheville account, and we used them to support our longtime mission partner, Beloved. Beloved has been incredibly busy during the pandemic, kind of all over town and all over the county. They've been offering everything from round-the-clock healthcare by street medics to creating street food pantries stocked with non-perishable items, and handing out tents and sleeping bags to our neighbors when the lockdown closed many shelters. And recently with the floods, they've had to replace a lot of tents and sleeping bags for some of those same people. I also wanted to mention that we were planning to participate in Pride Fest later this month. That has been canceled. We had already purchased t-shirts for this event, however, so our plan is to sell those shirts, and the funds generated from that we are going to donate to Youth Outright, which is a local organization that supports LGBTQIA youth. If you want more information about any of these ministries or several others, you can check out the mission page on our website, or like I said, Alan and I are happy to answer any questions that we can at the end of our moment. But I just want to thank everybody in this church. This is an incredibly supportive church of all these partnerships. Many people through money, of course, and time, and all of that is greatly appreciated and so important, and I appreciate that. Alan?
Amen to that. Thank you, Martha. So Deb Lyles and Jackie Wessel updated us on Saturday Sanctuary, and I'm going to just give you an update. The Saturday Sanctuary Committee is very eager to return to full service operations, returning our homeless population in Asheville. You may recall, for those of you who might not be totally familiar, that we used to open our doors each year to give our neighbors a place of refuge on Saturday. But we're painfully aware that it's not possible with COVID conditions being what they are. So building on our success and what we learned last year, we are expanding our to-go lunches operation in partnership with Beloved Asheville to include a rotating hot sandwich. This year, we'll include hot burritos and hot dogs in our selections. So on Fridays, we'll ask volunteers to come in and prepare the meals in our church kitchen. And on Saturday mornings, we'll assemble the meals. And after the meals are assembled, They get turned over to Beloved, who then distributes the meals to our neighbors. We'll have volunteer hours will be announced on Sign Up Genius. Our goal is for you to be able to access Sign Up Genius through our church website in the near future. If you'd like to be added to our volunteer information email list, please contact Mary Beth in the church office and ask her to add your name to the volunteer list, information list. Volunteers at the church kitchen are asked to be vaccinated and masks are required. And also we're going to do snack bag kits will also be part of our ministry again. They're high calorie snacks that are really well received by our neighbors when Beloved distributes them, often at night. We assembled and distributed nearly 1,000 last year. We're going to make the kits available for pickup, and you and your family and friends can assemble them and decorate them and put messages on them as you're called to do, and then return them to the church and we get them distributed. We really appreciate your support for this important ministry. Invite you to sign up and participate with us this year. We're looking forward to a really good year. So thank you. Any questions on those areas that Martha and I covered around mission, or any other areas of mission that you're interested in? We must have done a good job, Martha. Really appreciate all of your support for everything we do here in mission. Thank you.
I'd like to add to that before we finish there, the racial justice team's work with collaborative organizing is starting. And for those who may be watching this video later, you can still be a part of that. They're finishing the signups at the end of September, and there's about 10 extra spots right now, from what I understand, a rough count. So if you're interested in that, even if you missed the overture or couldn't get in because of Zoom problems, there's still a possibility of being part of that. I would love to hear from you about it. Let's see. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy. And before you get started, Kathy, I have a couple of things regarding our internet connection I need to go check on here at church before worship. Can I make you the host of the meeting? And you and Alan have the schedule. Anna, good to see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Tracy is there in her car, so when the time comes, she'll be ready. Okay, I'm going to make you host.
Okay.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay. Well, let me give a report for the APNC first. And since March, the Associate Pastor Nominating Committee has met faithfully on Zoom every Tuesday night, with very few exceptions, to review and discuss the many personal information forms submitted to us from interested ministers. We have had Zoom conversations with a number of them, and then more in-depth conversations with the most promising of those. We will soon be meeting in person with several in whom we are most interested. We are considering candidates for both the AP for Faith Formation and Congregational Life, and the designated Associate Pastor for Youth and Mission. We are excited about the prospects for some wonderful additions to our staff, and promise to keep you posted as things develop in the next few months. I am thankful for the leadership Patrick has given, the guidance of our Presbytery liaison, Cam Murkison, and especially for the faithfulness and thoughtful, prayerful insights of the members of the APNC, Margaret Black, Brown Hobson, Kat Kessler, Todd Mosley, Claire Trunnell, and Tom Young. And Margaret and Todd, along with Martha Sloan and Beverly Williamson, have also worked on a parallel team to consider specifically the designated AP candidates. We solicit your continued prayers as we work toward calls to those persons we believe God has planned for these ministries. And now for a report from Adult Faith Formation. The members of the Faith Formation Ministry are currently planning for Sunday morning offerings for the coming months, and we have plans up to and into Advent. First up, beginning next Sunday, Bob White will lead the first of a 2-week program entitled how we got our Bible and some of the people who made it possible. Bob made it happen. Bob will use fascinating stories about translators and compilers to trace the development of the Bible in English from a collection of manuscripts to the book as we know it. On October 3rd and 10th, Jane Van will lead us in a study of the components of worship and help us understand just why we worship as we do. On October 17th, Patrick will lead a discussion of an On Being podcast, and he can give us more information about that. Beginning on October 24th and continuing through November 21st, Dennis Herman will lead us in a video-based discussion of Walter Brueggemann's study of materialism from the Work of the People series. As Jane Van noted, no matter the starting point, Brueggemann always takes us somewhere unexpected. We are most fortunate to have the leadership of some of the most gifted teachers and theologians in our faith community. For the time being, all classes will take place on Zoom. Now, for the children's ministry report, I had hoped to have team leaders Babby Shelton, Claire Trunnell, and Carol Dreeling share their plans with you, but they are busy implementing those plans as we speak on the playgrounds of the church. Their team has been working faithfully to reimagine the Godly Play curriculum so that they might present it outside, no small task, which required much juggling of routine and setup, but with Nancy McNeil's help, carts have been loaded with materials and props so that the preschool children will meet in the Memorial Garden and the elementary children will gather on the awesome new playground on the front of the church near the corner of Church and Aston Streets. Volunteers have been working in recent days, as Patrick mentioned, to clean up and prepare the Memorial Garden to be ready for the children today. Now, as you might imagine, the church campus has been looking a little neglected since most of us have been largely absent for 18 months. And Jane Laping and Tom Young have begun spearheading efforts to spruce things up a bit. I know if you have a bit of energy and time to spare, that they would welcome your help in tackling the weeds at every point around the campus. I am happy to report that we have had additional new volunteers who have recently participated in a training held for Godly Play teachers, which our neighbors at Trinity Episcopal have graciously invited us to join. In addition to the Godly Play stories, also included in the curriculum each month will be a component from members of either the Racial Justice Task Force, the Mission Committee, or the Creation Care team. The children's ministry team has also worked hard to plan and assemble, with Nancy's help, at-home bags for each child in the church with activities which reinforce the Bible stories told in the Godly Play curriculum. For the foreseeable future, as long as weather permits, the children will continue to meet outside in much the same way that Jesus taught in the streets and on the sidewalks and hillsides. Any questions about the APNC or faith formation?
Kathy, you had said the APNC, it'll still be a number of months before the work is completed. Is that right?
Yes, we are bound by the regularly scheduled meetings of the Presbytery and Committee on Ministry, which has to approve any candidates that we recommend. And then we have to ask the session to call a congregational meeting, and that takes 2 weeks lead time. And so, yes, it's likely to be the first of the year at best before a new person could be in place.
Okay, thank you.
We're tap dancing as fast as we can.
Just one quick question, if I may, Kathy.
Sure.
I have that on my calendar, the Walter Brueggemann series, but I had it starting October 31st. I probably just didn't put the 24th on the calendar, so I want to make sure I have it right.
Well, I think we were considering having a presentation from the Stewardship Committee on that Sunday, and we are not sure if that's going to happen or not, but we will keep you posted.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Kathy, where do we look for what's on the schedule for adult classes?
It's on the email that goes out every Friday, and it's also on the website.
Thank you. Thank you. Great.
Kathy, I had a question about the children's education. I missed what you said about Trinity Episcopal.
They invited us. Julie Hester was in communication with their educator, and they invited us to participate in a training that they were holding for godly play teachers. And so we had a number of godly play teachers that joined with the folks from Trinity to train for the godly play curriculum. And that was a real blessing for them to offer to include us. Any more questions? Okay, I think John is up for youth next. Anybody out there want to talk about the youth?
Hey, I'm unmuted now.
Okay.
Good morning, y'all. So I'll update us on what all our youth groups are doing, and just so everybody's aware, Jeremy is heading up our youth operations right now, while the associate pastor nominating committee is searching for a new leader for youth and mission. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about what we did over the summer. And y'all, it's been great having Jeremy work with us. So Jeremy was working with the youth prior to Megan leaving, and so he has just sort of assumed that role. And I certainly hope he'll continue to work with the youth group, because the youth really like having Jeremy working with them. But over the summer, the middle schoolers went to Massanetta, which is something we typically do. We missed it last summer, but we went this past summer, and that was a big hit. We had a smaller group that did a sort of a mission work week with AYM through church. Joanne Barsh led that for our group, and that went really well. Joanne said they had a really good week. And then the high schoolers went to Montreat. They weren't able to do it last summer, but this summer, Montreat had their standard. Well, I guess it wasn't standard. They still had all the COVID, the COVID stuff, but we got to go.
Sally Campbell.
Yeah, and the youth stayed in Sally Campbell, which was very, very popular. And that Massanetta and then Montreat sort of inspired some thinking around what we're going to do for youth group this year. One thing that it seemed like we missed last year was the Sunday night meal that we did. So tonight's our first actual youth group meeting, and we'll be having a meal out on the patio after youth choir. So just like everybody else, it sounds like youth is really putting that patio, or going to put that patio to good use. We also plan to set up a 4-square court out there, so the rest of y'all are welcome to use it when y'all are using the patio as well.
And 4-square is a game that involves a kickball. There's a lot of movement, but it's a playground game.
So I'm gonna put a plug in here. While the youth were at Montreat, Wayne Drummond came and fixed waffles or pancakes for the group one morning. And then Alice Lenz invited the group over for a social and snack one afternoon. And both were really, really big hits. The youth were just real excited that they were getting attention from other folks in the congregation. So one thing we're going to do is open up
the opportunity to have supper on Sunday with the youth to everybody in the congregation. So we're going to have a sign up, and anybody can sign up to help do supper for the youth and then eat with the youth on Sunday. So look for that, please. The youth really sort of bragged to each other about how cool it was that they got invited to go to, you know, Miss Alice's house and got snack, and Mr. Wayne came and cooked for them. So it's a good opportunity to get to know them, and they really enjoy getting to know them some more. We did have, as Jeremy mentioned briefly, we had sort of a kickoff camping trip last weekend. It was a smaller group, but we had a up in Flag Pond, Tennessee, and had a small group there. But today will be our first youth meeting. One thing we started last year, and we're going to continue doing this year, we're going to have sort of small groups. So today we'll have everybody meet, high schoolers and middle schoolers. And then we'll also have, in future weeks, we'll have just high schoolers or just middle schoolers, and then we'll have them both back together again. That was something that was really well received by our youth, is having some time just for high schoolers together, just for middle schoolers together. But then it's also good to have the whole group together too. But that was well received, so we're going to do that. But every week will be youth choir and then a supper. Then after that will be the program, be it both high school and middle, just high school, just middle school. We do have, and I was trying to figure out how many there are. I think we have at least 5 on the Presbytery Youth Council, 5 of our youth. Margaret, Olivia Bell, Sally, Evan, Grace. I think that's all of ours. But that's a really nice, I don't know, I guess it's really a nice testament to our youth program that we have that many participating in the Presbytery Youth Council. So they help plan events and lead events for youth throughout the Presbytery. They'll be doing a middle school retreat later on this fall up at Camp Greer. And it's a lot of fun to see the PYC in action. They're I don't know, they're peppy, they're likable, and they're a lot of fun. So that's a lot of, I really like having our kids on there. And then the last thing I'll throw out, we've got a good group of youth volunteers, Olivia Bell calls them youth helpers. So that's Grace Collins, Wes Tripp, Joanne Bars, Todd Oldenburg, me, and Savannah, and I just blanked on Savannah's last name. She's new with us, and she's going to be helping as well. So we're really excited to have her too. That is all I had to update on. Does anybody have any questions about youth activities? Yes, ma'am. Hey, Jane.
Hi, John. Yeah, so what do the youth helpers do?
That's the adults that work with the youth. We help with the programs and lead the discussions and serve as fodder for Foursquare, that sort of thing.
All right, great. I thought these were youth who were volunteering to help. Sorry.
No, ma'am. The youth have termed us as helpers.
Okay.
We help them.
Yes.
They really are a fun group, and it's worth getting to know them because there's a lot of sass, there's a lot of spirit, there's a lot of good sass, a lot of good spirit. They're fun, they're energetic, they're kind, it's a good group.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, John. And I will say Wes Tripp is, who has been working as a youth helper this year, is a new member that joined during the pandemic, having never set foot in our church.
And Wes was one of our helpers who stayed several nights at Montreat with the group, and they had a real big time. It was great to have him around.
Another thing that one of the youth who's serving on session with Olivia Bell, Zeb Potter, we were talking at the Faith Formation, he's serving on Faith Formation Ministry, and we were talking about ways that we could get youth and younger children involved. And he had an idea about connecting youth with younger children to do work around the church to help maybe Jane and Tom with their cleanup activities. And so I think there are a lot of possibilities there for mentoring and helping one another volunteer. So it sounds like a great group. If we were to volunteer to bring supper one Sunday night, what is your average number on Sunday night?
So what we've said so far is planned for 10 to 20. I think we need to see what happens like today. We had 9 youth go to Montreat, and we had, I think it was, 5 or 6 went to Massanetta. So that was high school and middle school. I doubt we would have 20 every night. I think tonight will probably be a pretty good group. But we will have to see. Right now, I would say we would plan between 10 and 20.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Tracy Groover, I think, is calling in from her car, but has a report on the church family retreat in a few weeks. And Tracy, do you want to take that away? Give us some information there.
Yeah, so I am sitting in a parking lot so I can use free Wi-Fi at the Ingalls because I'm traveling today unexpectedly. So if y'all can't hear me well with the video on, let me know and I'll turn it off.
You sound awesome, Tracy.
Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, I just want to talk to you about the retreat for a minute. So the committee is once again trying to come up with a way to do the retreat that's not a normal retreat, since we are not out of the woods with COVID. So we decided that we do want to meet in person this year instead of doing all virtual like we did last year. Initially, we had a much longer day planned, and we've since scaled back on that. And we've also moved everything outdoors. So if you are on the fence about coming to the retreat this year, I want you to know that the entire day will be outside. We will have a tent erected so that we have cover in case there's rain. We have some spots set up around Montreat on porches so that we can be outside but still have a roof over our heads. And basically the way the day is set up is that we're going to join together in the morning, late morning, and have a worship service that will be brief. And then we'll have lunch, and we'll do lunch outside like we did the church picnic earlier this year, which was great. I know we had a great turnout for that picnic, and I think everybody had a great time. So we're going to do kind of the same thing for lunch that day. And then after lunch, we're going to, or maybe it was before lunch. I don't have my schedule in front of me, but we're going to have plenty of time that day for small groups. And our small groups are going to rotate through 4 different stations. So we're going to try and keep people in smaller groups so that one, we can, not be exposed to so many folks, but also just to keep things moving. We're going to do some storytelling where we just get a chance to talk to each other, which I think we all need. I don't know about you, but I know that I've really missed that. I've missed being able to talk to other people at church. We used to have so much of that, and now we get so little. When you're on a Zoom call like this, it's really hard to tell stories with each other. It's hard to check in with each other because there's always an agenda, right? And only one person can talk at a time. So we're looking forward to that option for storytelling. And then another station will be an art project that Mary Ellen Porter is getting ready for us. And it'll be something really simple that everybody can do, even if you're not artistic. Don't worry about that. We're going to have a music station that Jeremy is going to lead for us. And again, simple things that anybody can do, even the kids. And then we'll also have a station where we're going to do a scavenger hunt that Hank Johnson is working on. And the scavenger hunt will take you on a walk around Lake Susan. So that way, you know, this is supposed to be an intergenerational day. So we're going to have some young ones with us as well as some older ones and everything in between. And so we want to have a chance for more active folks to get out and move. But also, you know, the scavenger hunt can be done at your own pace. And the walk around Lake Susan is an easy walk. But a beautiful one, especially in October. I'm sure that we're going to see some beautiful colors starting by then. So let's see. Oh, and then at the end of the day, we're going to end with dinner together, again, outdoors. And it looks like that's going to be a barbecue dinner done by Congregational Life Committee. So I'm sure that'll be great. And what I needed for everyone to know is that you have until you have until September 17th to sign up for the retreat. So hopefully everybody gets the chance to sign up. The cost is minimal since it's, you know, just a one-day thing. You can sign up on the website. On our website, there is a retreat page, and that gives you some details about the day, information, and how to sign up. Oh, and then the final thing to let people know is we are still leaving that option in place. If you want to book a room at the Assembly Inn for Friday night and stay over and then attend the retreat on Saturday, that option is still available. The only change is that now you just call directly to Assembly Inn and make your reservation rather than us doing it for you. But we're leaving that option in place because some people maybe need a day out of the house. Maybe you need to go spend the night at Assembly Inn and just wake up in the mountains and look out over the lake. And if that's something that sounds good to you, go ahead and book a room. Montreat would love to have you, but that is totally optional. If you'd rather stay at home, that's fine too. I think that's all I have to share. So does anybody have questions about it? All right. Thanks for having us today. And I hope that lots of you get the chance to sign up for the retreat. If you have questions, you can send me an email, or Nancy McNeil is on the committee, as well as Chris DeJarnett, Jeannie DeBose. Who am I forgetting? Mary Ellen Porter. You can email any of us if you have questions.
Tracy, I just want to say thank you for really being clear about how you're trying to make this as safe and as comfortable for everyone. Kathleen and I will be there, and we're doing it because of the confidence we have in what the committee's doing. So thank you so very much.
You're welcome. And I appreciate that feedback. We're trying to make it so that everybody can be comfortable, but still get to see other people. I think that connection, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, that connection has been really hard to maintain in the last year and a half. And I know I'm feeling it. My children are feeling it. So I think it'll be good for everybody to be able to be together, even if it's for a short time.
Amen.
Thank you for taking a break in your travels to hang out at Ingalls, Tracy. We appreciate that. Good work. Anybody else have questions about anything that we've talked about this morning, or things maybe we forgot about? Well, thanks, everybody. Alan, would you close us in prayer?
I will. Thank you, Kathy. So everyone, first of all, we just appreciate your coming and taking the time out. Please spread the word on what's going on in the church. Communications is a bit of a challenge, and we just appreciate your help with that. So let's go ahead and pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this precious time together. Thank you for this, the joy and the love and the care that is expressed through all the activities of what we do corporately. We thank you for the ways that you help us find our ways to express ourselves, to express our love for Jesus, and the love that you give and share with us every day. In your name you pray. Amen. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you, Alan, Kathy.
Thank you.
See you soon.